Hey Vanner family. So I was just sitting here in my small red chair with my feet up on the bed. Decided to do a little quick video showing you guys what I do when I break out my laptop. I definitely do not breaking out the laptop if I can avoid it. But sometimes there are things you need to get done that you just need the big screen for and a full keyboard and a mouse. One of those things that I'm doing today is I'm typing up my podcast. If you have not subscribed to Patreon, for $3 or more a month, you get access to my every other Thursday podcast. So I like to type up my podcast so that I stay on point and I don't do a lot of ums during the recording of the podcast. I have an app that I will put somewhere on the screen here and show you that I use on my iPhone. So my iPhone is now my podcast phone. It's a Wi-Fi only phone. It was gifted to me from a Vanner family member last summer, and I really appreciate it because it's nice to have a separate device where all that stuff can be recorded on. And the app I found is not on Android, it's only on iOS, and so it was nice that I had that and not have to use my big tab just to record my voice. So it's a good app. And I love it because just like when I edit on my cell phone for video, I can go in and edit that podcast. If I say or if I make a mistake, I can cut it out and put together and make it one fluid podcast. So far, the podcasts have been going well. It's different for me. It's exciting and new. Trying to come up with different things that I talk about that you don't necessarily get on YouTube. So that's a way for me to get some more personal stories, in-depth stories. So this particular podcast that I'm working on is episode number 4. And I'm talking about body image issues that I've grown up with and that I still carry to this day that I'm trying to work on getting rid of. And I've gotten rid of a lot of my body image issues, but there are still some that are so deeply ingrained that I'm trying to let go. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just using Google Docs to type it all up on my laptop. And if you want to know what laptop I have a Lenovo IdeaPad 330 is the one that I have. It has an Intel Core 13 8th generation. It's good for my needs. I'm sure they've upgraded since I got this one a year ago. But it does very well for my needs. It's got more than enough space, and I definitely enjoy this laptop. It goes very nicely with my Wi-Fi. It jumps on it, no problem. And I love Google Docs. I have all kinds of documents saved from years and years and years ago when I first was introduced to Google Docs when I worked in the school system. We did a lot of Google Docs sharing. And I just love Google Docs because I don't have to use Microsoft Word. I don't have to have Office at all. I can have my Google Docs, Google Slides, all of it. It's just like having Microsoft Word, but it's all free with your Gmail and your Google account. So I love it very much. My resume is in Google Docs. I can save things. As a matter of fact, I just went to my old Google account, my original one, and deleted a lot of stuff out of my Google Docs there because it's just stuff that I don't need anymore. But I just love having all of my docs. So it's been very, very helpful. So if you're not using Google Docs, you should. I feel like a commercial, but I love Google Docs and Google Drive. Everything is there. So yeah, I type up my podcast. A lot of times lately I've been typing up some of my videos as well. Like Mental Health Mondays is going to be a typed up one because I like to stay on track. I'm going to keep it short and concise. So let me know in the comments if you are a Google Doc user. So let me show you how I have everything set up here when I do my podcast. So like I said, I type up my podcast and I use my Wi-Fi enabled iPhone to record on because the app that I'm using there is an excellent app for editing later. And a lot of times I will pull music on my laptop into the podcast on the back. On occasion, sometimes I just do it for the intro and the outro. Sometimes I do it for the whole podcast. It just depends on what the subject matter is and if I'm really feeling the song and if I can make it soft enough and in the background. So it just depends. I think for this one I'm gonna just do something in the intro and the outro, but I can always add music to it later if I so choose. That's a little bit of an extra step. So I just want to show you my setup right now. And maybe I'll film myself just doing the intro for you so you can see what I do. All right, so here's my setup. I've got my laptop going over here. And I've got my Wi-Fi only phone. I got my mouse for scrolling. And so if you remember, I gave away one of these cases a while back. I will try and find the link and see if they're still being sold. It's got Not Your Mama's Van on it, down by the river. As always, she loves being down by the river, as I do. But yeah, this was gifted to me by my friend who was making these phone cases. I'll try and put a link in the description box or pin it in the comments below if I can still find it. I'm not sure if he's still selling it or not, but I'll try and find it. Anyway, so this is my iPhone. I keep it in this case because this was an iPhone case. So this is what I do. Let's get this turned on. Okay, the phone is on, and this is the app that I'm using. It's called Recorder Plus. So I get that turned on. As you can see, you have the lines for the audio here. So if I want to record a new audio, I hit record and it'll take me to another screen and I can begin recording. But right now I want to go through my laptop and find some of my free YouTube music. So I'm going to minimize this screen and slide it over. And I'm going to go to a folder I have here that says free music on my laptop, and I'm going to pull that up. And all of these items here are free music that I've got from YouTube that I can use without any kind of copyright. So a lot of times I just go through and click on one, and the player will come up and it'll play it, and I'll listen to it. And I'll decide, oh, I don't have my volume on. I'll decide if I like it or not. So here's one. There we go. So I'm gonna pause that because I don't like that one. I'm gonna minimize the player because it's so big. Let's try another one. That one's not bad, but I'm going to keep going. I think I used this one already, so we're not going to do that one. That one's a little bit too upbeat. I want something that's nice and quiet. And see, I tend to not like music with lyrics or words in it, just because if I'm talking, I don't need you trying to figure out what's being said in the song, so that one's not going to work for me either. Don't like that one. This is really one of my favorite ones. I love this song, and I've used it already, so I don't want to use it, so I'm going to go back up to the one that I said was okay. So I'm thinking I might use this one in my intro. And maybe for my outro as well. So I'm going to turn the fan off. And I'm going to shut my door so that I can record this without any other sounds. So I'm gonna let you guys get a sneak peek on me doing the podcast. And it's so weird because I have to manually turn the music down because I'm recording on my cell phone, so I have to turn the music down. I let it play a couple seconds at regular or average volume, and then I turn it down kind of low, and then I do my intro over top of it. So I'll let you guys listen to me. I'm not going to record, but I'm going to just show you what I would do. So I've got my podcast over here on this screen. I've got my music player, which I'm going to make smaller. And I'm going to make the podcast bigger because that's the most important thing. I need to be able to see what I'm reading. Whoops. So I'm going to make this a little longer so I don't have to scroll as much. And I make my podcast fit the screen. So I'm just doing the intro, so I'm just going to show you guys the intro. If you want to have more, you have to sign up for Patreon and get the rest. All right, so we're going to do a volume here at about half, and then I'll turn it down. Hey there, Vanner family. Welcome to the HelloCrystalVanner Chats podcast. I am Crystal Vanner. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome to episode number 4 of season 1. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast so far. Today, I'm digging deep down into history, and I'm sharing some of my body insecurity issues. Yikes! So that would be the intro or something like that. Hopefully that comes across well on camera. But that's what I would do, and I would turn the volume down and really get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. And then the outro would be something similar. I usually try and have the same intro tagline and the same outro tagline as well for each pod. So that's kind of how I do my podcast. And this is season 1 of the podcast. And like I said, this is episode 4. So if you are interested in listening to me dig a little deeper, get a little more personal into some of my issues and some stories, sign up for the podcast through my Patreon. And remember, it is a $3 or more a month donation. Get you all access to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this daily dose. Thanks for watching.